Astrosphere at Funtown U.S.A. is the world's best scrambler, and before I go any further, I need to give an epilepsy warning for flashing lights, because calling this ride a scrambler severely undersells it. This is more of a spectacle between the lighting and music effects. In this video, I will explain what makes this ride so special. Many parks added scramblers from the Eli Bridge Company throughout the years. A handful of parks, mostly in the Northeast, decided to enclose these rides and plus them with lights and audio. Other examples include Centrifuge at Casino Pier, Blizzard at Six Flags Great Escape, and Psychodrome at Canopy Lake Park. But the best of the bunch is easily Astrosphere. This was added to Funtown in 1976. The ride was originally contained inside an inflatable vinyl dome. This was white and yellow. In 2019, the ride received a major upgrade. A white concrete dome was erected around the attraction. This will be less labor-intensive for the park, as the new dome could survive inclement weather and harsh New England winters. And it also allowed for better temperature control inside the attraction for guests and operators. The ride also received brand new video projectors. These are mounted to the scrambler itself. The original ones had broke and had been discontinued for a few years, so this was a welcome addition. The park was also able to restore many of the original photo slides, allowing guests to see the classic visuals from decades prior. Astrosphere is located over by the Wild Mouse. If you don't know this is a ride, you may actually miss it. I know that unfortunately has happened to a few people. As with most scramblers, Astrosphere has 3 arms. Each arm has 4 cars. Each car then holds 1 to 3 guests at a time. The average cycle takes 24 to 30 guests. When I visited this park on an abnormally quiet day several years ago, I learned there was a minimum rider requirement. I believe there had to be somewhere in the ballpark of 12 riders per cycle. I'm not sure if that policy is still in place, but most days it is not an issue. This is one of the park's most popular rides, and for good reason. Just to put this ride's popularity into perspective, the park sells merchandise for this ride. I cannot name another park that does that for their scrambler. The ride is a short physical queue adjacent to the dome. This consists of just 3 switchbacks. A full queue takes roughly 3 cycles, which takes about 20 minutes, between the lengthy cycle and the load procedure. But most days, it's more like a 1 to 2 cycle wait. If you do get stuck in this queue, it is rather unpleasant. It has absolutely no shade, and you will bake in the sun. I really wish they'd add some sort of covering over this in the future for guest comfort. After everyone has exited the dome from the prior cycle, new guests are admitted into a holding tunnel. This was critical back when it had the inflatable dome, because it helped prevent it from deflating. As many of us know, New England and deflating do not go together. Staff members still use it today to batch the next cycle and give them a place to go over the rules and safety instructions. You then enter the dome. The carpet has space designs on it with a purple background and green planets. The ride itself is a glowing neon green paint scheme. And atop the arms, you can see the disco balls and projectors that aid the show elements. The restraints are identical to most scramblers. You have a seatbelt across your lap and a safety door that latches shut with a redundant retaining pin. The ride does take a bit to load because staff members need to peer inside the car to verify the seatbelt is secure. Then most guests do not see the retaining pin on the outside, so they rarely do it themselves. There also are several cases where guests need to be rearranged. As with all scramblers, the largest guests should be seated on the outside. The ride's forces push you outwards, leading to the outer guests getting squished by others. So it's a major safety issue if there's a small kid on the outside. Once everyone is checked, the ride starts to slowly rotate. The lights then go out. After a moment of silence, the ride's soundtrack begins. The attraction plays a condensed version of ELO's Fire on High. This was a custom remix by a former operator. This is a fantastic song and a real toe tapper. It is perfect for a ride like this. and the audio is loud and crystal clear. This is powered by an incredible surround sound system. Then the visuals are equally as amazing. They are timed perfectly with the beats of the song. The dome is covered with a purplish sky for a majority of the ride, with stars and planets projected onto it. But the visuals get way more complex. Large intergalactic images are cast onto the dome, and since the projectors are on the ride itself, these move with you. These include spaceships and all sorts of creepy alien faces. And these are crisp and clear with the upgraded video equipment. Then this is further augmented by strobe lights and lasers, many of which refract off those aforementioned disco balls. The result is sensory overload, and I mean that in the best way possible. There is so much to take in. As for the Scrambler itself, this is one of the slower ones, but that is deliberate. That is so it's easier to take in the sights, because that is what makes this ride special. The spinning does add to the experience though. Whereas most Scramblers pin you continuously to the side of the car with strong laterals, Astrosphere's laterals are weaker, but they ebb and flow. They act up whenever the large arm and smaller arms sync up. This gives it a bit more character. Once the ride ends, the lights come on and many guests applause. It's deserved. It really feels more like a show than a ride. The overall cycle is nearly 4 minutes in duration, which is very long. Most Scramblers last half as long. Before you exit the dome, you enter another holding area. Again, this was more critical in the days with the inflatable dome to prevent air from escaping. Once everyone is there, the operators open the doors and you exit back into the park. But you will likely see a few people go right back in line. I know I've done that before. So, what would I rate Astrosphere? I would give this ride a perfect 10 out of 10. This is not just a Scrambler. It is a Scrambler spectacular. This classic flat ride serves as your theater. Then you have an incredible soundtrack paired with countless visual effects. And they only got better with the upgrade in 2019. If you purely want a more intense Scrambler, there are better ones. But absolutely no Scrambler offers a better show and experience than Astrosphere. This is why it's not only one of my favorite rides in the park, but it is one of the best flat rides in the world. Heck, it is better than a majority of the roller coasters out there. This is a cannot miss attraction when you're at this main amusement park. So those are my thoughts on the Astrosphere at Funtown USA. Do you agree this is the world's best Scrambler? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.